From the Berkshires to the Sound, from wherever you live in MLB America, this is Inside the Parker. You give us 22 minutes and we'll give you the scoop on Major League Baseball. Now, here's Baseball Hall of Fame voter number 57.
You have another hot take.
Will not NOT make the playoffs.
Shohei me the money.
Rob Parker.
Come on! I've been covering Major League Baseball for almost 40 years now. In New York, in Cincinnati, in Detroit, in LA. I love this game. Let's go! Welcome into the podcast, and I'm your host, Rob Parker. And what a show we have for you today. Before we even get started, remember, press this button, the subscribe button, so that you're always here, always up to date with all the best coverage of Major League Baseball. As you know, I've been covering baseball since 1986. I love the sport. This is the place for your baseball fix. Inside the Parker, sponsored by Cuffin Season. Lock in the flavor your taste buds will love at cuffinseason.us. Get yours today. And for an extra 10% off, use the code MLB Bro in all caps. Welcome into the podcast. I'm your host, Rob Parker. What a show we have for you today. Minnesota Twins center fielder Byron Buxton, he stops by, plus Sam Blum from The Athletic. He'll talk Dodgers and Angels. Plus, I'll have a pushback, that and much more. Let's go.
To lead off, it's Getting Robbed.
And keep them up.
Rob's hot take on the three biggest stories in Major League Baseball. Number one.
The All-Star starters have been announced, and for the most part, I'm cool with them. Let's go over them really quickly. I'll go through them. Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong in center, Ronald Acuna Jr. in right, Freddie Freeman, Ketel Marte at second base, Francisco Lindor, shortstop, Manny Machado, of course, third base. This is all the National League squad. Shohei Ohtani is your DH, and Will Smith is behind the plate. Now let's go to the American League. Real simple. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first, Gleyber Torres at second, Jacob Wilson at shortstop from the A's, Jose Ramirez third base, Ryan O'Hearn DH from the Orioles. And then in the outfield, we have Riley Green, Javier Baez in center field, and Aaron Judge in right field. Okay, so I only have two issues. And my two issues are Javi Baez in center field for the American League. Byron Buxton is having an unbelievable year in center field. I get the Tigers are a great team leading the American League in wins and all of that, and Javi Baez has had a tremendous bounce-back season. But Buxton's been doing it with the glove and with the bat. He should be the starter in center field for the American League. And the National League, my bone to pick, is Ronald Acuna just came back, and I know he's a fan favorite, a star, but have you watched the season James Wood has had for the Washington Nationals, this young kid, only in his second season in the big leagues? He's so feared at the plate that the other day the Angels walked him 4 times intentionally in a game. That hadn't happened since Barry Bonds. So how in the world could James Wood not make the starting lineup for the National League from the Nationals? Other than that, I can't wait to go to Atlanta for the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game.
Number two.
We'll do a big deep dive about Clayton Kershaw reaching the 3,000 strikeout mark in his Major League career with Sam Blum. That's coming up. But first, I want to talk to you about the idea that no other pitcher in baseball history will reach 3,000 strikeouts. That seems to be the theme, and people are saying it's going to be impossible with the way managers deal with pitchers. Guys don't pitch complete games and whatnot. I'm just not convinced of that. I still believe that there's a chance. I was in Detroit and watched Skubal strike out 13 in 7 innings, a career high, and he didn't pitch the complete game or anything like that. He still was able to get strikeouts. And Paul Skeens is another guy, I believe, that will have a chance to get to 3,000 strikeouts. And here's my only reason why. Forget about the number of innings. It's more that guys are free swingers, and making contact is not that important anymore. An out is an out, whether you strike out or ground out. So they're not that concerned about it. So I think there are more chances to strike people out because guys are willing to swing to hit the ball out of the ballpark, whereas before it was about contact. So I'm betting against the idea that no other pitcher will ever get to 3,000 strikeouts.
Number 3.
Baseball and gambling, yes. Luis Ortiz from the Cleveland Guardians has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave for an investigation involving gambling. We just found out about Malik Beasley and an investigation as well about gambling from a couple years ago. So gambling and sports is just going to be around. These stories will not go away, whether it's baseball, football, basketball. We've seen this happen. A player was banned in the NBA for gambling. NFL players were banned for a year for gambling. And baseball, we already know the history with Pete Rose and what a big ordeal that was. But pro sports and these leagues are in bed with gambling houses now, and it's a part of the fabric of the game. And, you know, it's a double message. Fans, you go ahead out and bet, but players, you better not bet. And I get it. They're participating in the game. They shouldn't bet. But I just think this is a story that will not be unique, and we'll see more of those, unfortunately, when it comes to pro sports and baseball.
Here comes the big interview. Listen and learn.
Oh, it's so good.
Now let's welcome into the podcast Byron Buxton, center fielder for the Minnesota Twins, having an all-star season. Everybody knows your talent. Injuries have derailed you for most of the last few years. How do you feel, and how important is it to be healthy and finally be able to play again?
I feel good. Injuries is part of the game, so it's something that I don't regret. That's what made me who I am today. So it's all about the mental toughness of moving that process along and knowing who you are as a person.
You won a Gold Glove, 2017 All-Star, 2022. Looks like you're having seasons to do that in the same season. You feeling that way?
Buxton on the move. Buxton will dive, and you bet he'll get there. Another great play from Buxton. He was playing in right center field.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a resilient mindset and, like I said, you know who you are as a person, you know what you can do on the field, there's nothing that can stop you. Your mind is unstoppable. So if you believe in yourself, no matter who believes in you or not, good things tend to happen because those people are the ones that come out on top.
Did you, when you were going through the injuries, was there ever a moment where you said, this is just too hard, oh my God, like every time there's something, was there ever a moment where you felt maybe you couldn't get back to who you were?
I mean, yeah, obviously when you have surgery, you're going to have those moments where, will I ever get back to doing the things that I did well? And for me, it took a couple of years, obviously having 2 knee surgeries back to back. That definitely tested me a little bit because it took me literally a whole year to kind of get myself injury free. And once I got in my mind, like, all right, this is the process that it's going to take, whether it's good or the bad. You take both ways. Stop worrying about those things that don't matter and focused on what I can control. And that's kind of what's leading me to who I am today. You know, focus on what we got in here and everything else don't matter.
What do you like more? Jumping over the fence, taking people's home runs, or hitting it out yourself? Because you do both very well.
2-2, Buxton to left. This one sending Collins back to the wall. He's done it again. Second deck home run for Byron Buxton. Another multi-homer game here in the month of June. It is now 9-4.
He's unbelievable, Corey. Get him to the All-Star.
He slugs to center. Buxton on the move. Buxton on the track. Buxton jumps up and he got it. Up against the padding.
Big defensive person, so robbing a homer, robbing a hit, whatever the situation is, I kind of get the pitchers locked back into their zone, and it changes the momentum of the game a little bit more to when we do get back into the swing of bats. You're not necessarily that you're not locked in, but you kind of got a little extra juice when you get up there.
How about the speed factor? Obviously you had some leg injuries, but are you still the fastest guy in the league? Is that a fair claim?
I let my work do the business. Like, I ain't heard nobody tell me to line up, so I'm assuming I am.
Okay. And what would it mean to you to make the All-Star team? It won't be long. We'll be in Atlanta. How special would that be?
It's very special. Obviously, being from Georgia, got the family there. Last All-Star game, I had 2 kids. I got 3 now. So to be able to experience that with everybody in the family, that'll be special. You know, especially to be able to go home and have the family there.
And the last thing, just the season on a whole, the injury part of it just behind you, and you're just out there playing, not thinking about what was the past, and just kind of, I'm back, I'm playing, I'm healthy, and just going out there. Is that the mindset?
One day at a time. I don't look no farther. Like, it's one thing that has gotten me to where I am at this point. So take it one day at a time, control what I can control, and go play ball.
All right, Byron Buxton, we will see him in Atlanta at the All-Star Game. You can book that.
In case you missed Rob Parker on the MLB Network, here's his latest appearance on MLB Now.
Showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
All right, it's showdown time. We bring in our good friend Rob Parker. Rob, I've been out here for about an hour and a half. This is like in the gym where you're like the 5th guy I got to spar with. I'm a little shot right now. So you're nice and fresh. You ready to go?
I am ready to go. That's good. I hope you're worked up. They worked you over like a burger and fries.
I like you don't feel badly. It's like, no, maybe I'll take it easy. No, I think I'll pummel you. All right. I don't know where you stand on this. We're going to talk about Jurickson Profar. He's eligible to come back from his drug suspension tonight for the Braves. Is 80 games enough to disincentivize players from taking PEDs?
I think it is. We got to be real careful. People make mistakes. I always remember the late, great Bob Murphy, who was the Mets announcer for a long time. And he used to always say, that's why they put erasers on pencils, because people make mistakes. We don't want to be
this is not some unintentional mistake. Come on.
No, but
this isn't just, I didn't know it was there. Come on, the guys who are failing drug tests, you got to be taking something you're not supposed to be taking to cycle off. It takes a lot to fail a drug test in this day and age.
Yes,
come on. It's not just a simple mistake.
No, but my point is that people do make mistakes. They do things that they shouldn't do. And my point is, you get penalized. You're going to be ostracized. He's going to miss. He missed 80.
By who? What? I don't know. Is there like pressure within the players' code within that group? I don't know about that. And even a guy like, yes, when Tatis failed a drug test or Robbie Cano did, a big-time player, but these guys that are slightly under the radar, like I even forget like half the guys that come back, oh, yeah, he had a drug suspension. Profar, maybe it's a little bigger because the Braves were swooning. But I don't know. They come back. Again, they do their time. It's 80 games. I'm wondering. I don't think 80 games is quite enough. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that he's not eligible for the playoffs, that changes things slightly.
That's a penalty. That's the big penalty. But I mean, what are you going to do? Ban him for life? I don't think we should be into that.
You do on the third time. Well, here is you do 80, right? Then you do a full year, 162. Then you do life, and it seems like wow, banned for life. That obviously that's very serious. That's the 3rd time through. Maybe start it 1 year and then go to life. That would disincentivize guys.
No, I still think, BK, you would still have people who ultimately, or at some point, you'll have people who fail the test. I don't think that.
And then you stop cold.
We have all
yeah, if you failed one, if there were 2 tests and you were banned for life, and after that first time you got dinged, it would stop dead because then you lose your whole contract.
See, I don't agree with that. I think we see this in society all the time, and people still wind up doing things that they're not supposed to do. I don't believe that if that was the case, we wouldn't have anybody in prison because they know the penalty.
Rob, this is not an addiction.
No,
this is guys getting jacked up. It's helping them professionally.
Yeah, but I also think that we have to give people some room to be better is what I'm saying to you, BK. Okay, you made a mistake. You might have been a young guy. Do we want to throw people away? Did we want to throw Fernando?
He wasn't a young guy.
Jr.
We're not
away?
throwing him away. They get 3 chances. How about giving him 2? I think it would disincentivize. All right.
No, how many chances do you get in baseball? You get 3 strikes, not 2 strikes. You can't rewrite the game.
Yes, you can. It used to be a 10-game suspension, by the way. It used to be a 10-game suspension for failing a drug test. Now it's a lot more. Anyway, all right, where do you stand on this? They're kind of floating this, the Giants. On radio, Larry Baird, their longtime CEO, very respected guy, flew out that said, hey, Barry Bonds, he's probably next for a statue. Where do you stand on that?
Build 2 statues. I mean, one, I'm serious. From this standpoint, BK, when I look up the all-time home run leader in Major League Baseball, guess whose name is on the list right there? It's Barry Bonds. And you could say, am I being naive? Do I think he took juice? Yes, I do. But if you're going to count all the stats and you're not taking away any Red Sox World Series and Big Papi and Manny Ramirez, and you're not taking away any Yankee stuff and all this other stuff, I don't hear fans crying to take away Yankees World Series, Red Sox World Series, and other stuff that went on during this era. So if he was never suspended by baseball and all his numbers count, I can't stand in the way of a statue. I believe he deserves one.
You
got to be consistent, BK. Be consistent. You want the Yankees to give back their World Series in the 90s?
Why? For who? For who? Who was it? Why do they have to give it back?
Well, A-Rod in 2009, they won a World Series.
All right, so 2009. All right, yeah. No.
All right,
no,
should
you
Joe
can't
Torre
undo
come
it.
out of the Hall of
You
Fame?
can't undo it, but it's not as if the statue is going up organically. You're making a choice to turn a human being into an icon. And you want to turn Barry Bonds into an icon, that this is the best of the best, this is what we aspire to be. Come on. You're really going to put him up there after he systemically cheated with a regime for years? It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a one-time thing. It was year after year. You want to turn that guy into an icon for all to see. This is what we glorify. Really?
Yeah, but BK, people have flaws, and no one is saying we're whitewashing history or we're not going to talk about what went on. But the idea that this guy, his records count. If you told me that baseball
and they do count, but you don't have to build a statue for him. He did, and I've said too, he got into the Giants Hall of Fame. They had a day for him. They paraded him around. Do that every year. Fine, you love him. He was great for you, the Giants. But putting a statue up, that's way too much.
BK,
way too much.
Let me say, I want to make one more point. Did you watch the reception that Sammy Sosa got when he came back to Wrigley for the first time in 21 years? And, you could be a stickler for all these other things, but fans, you know what they remember? They remember what Sammy Sosa, how they made him feel.
So you want a statue for Sammy? You want a statue for him, too?
No, my point is, they didn't boo Sammy Sosa. They gave him an ovation.
Yes, give him a day. Let him come out. I don't want him to be a pariah. I don't want Roger Clemens to be a pariah. I don't want to go through their garbage. I don't want them arrested. I don't want them in front of a grand jury. I just say, do you have to build them a statue? You don't have to.
BK, as long as you tell the entire story of people, I'm okay with that. We have plenty of statues in this country of people who did some bad stuff.
And a lot of them were torn down. A lot of them were torn down, right? That was not part of the reckoning. Like, you know what? This guy that we're glorifying, let's not do that, right?
Yes, but there's still other statues that are up.
Well, go get them. You go get them, and I won't build the Bond statue. How about that? Well, we got to go. We can talk. See, I just already don't have the moral energy to go after this, but it's like I just can't let this pass. I would, again, it's like a Hall of Fame vote. I would try to choose to honor a clean player. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to haunt these guys.
But
I don't want to shame them.
In saying that, there are already players in the Hall of Fame.
Man, it's too late. I don't need to hunt these guys down. I'm not a narc.
Why not?
I don't have to hunt them down. Why hunt? Well, it's too late. They're they're honored, I'm fine. But as far as, hey, let's build them all statues. No. How about not? How about we don't do that?
No, if you're not going to clean it up and get everybody right, then there's no reason Bonds can't have a statue.
Build them
plain and simple.
I'm going to get the statue ready for Jurickson Profar then. All right. Rob, good talking to you again. We can disagree.
Always be.
I still like it. All right.
When Rob was a newspaper columnist, he lived by this motto: if I'm writing, I'm ripping. Let's bring in a writer or broadcaster, old or new.
Now let's welcome into the podcast, Sam Blum. He is a baseball writer for The Athletic. Sam, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, my man.
Of course, thanks for having me, Rob. Appreciate it.
Always. Let's start here. You were at Dodger Stadium on Wednesday night. Kershaw finally broke through the 3,000 strikeout mark. Not many have done it. 19 in, I think he became the 20th pitcher to do so. Just talk about the moment in Kershaw and the idea of joining an exclusive club. And I think only 4 left-handers have done it.
Yeah, it was so cool last night because of how much drama he kind of made it out to be. I mean, I think in the first 5 innings, he had 13 two-strike counts and only 1 strikeout to show for it. And so everybody, it just built up this like restlessness in the crowd, like, this tension. Everybody came to the ballpark. It was supposed to be this preordained, he's gonna get there. It's the White Sox. He needs 3 strikeouts. This is his whole family, all his friends, all of his former teammates, like everyone's there for this. And then he's not getting there. And it's like the pitch count's getting up and, the bullpen's warming up. And there's just so many things that are kind of all playing at the same time. And then in the last batter that he's going to face, he ends up getting the strikeout on a called third strike looking on a slider on the outside corner. And it's like, and it ended an inning. And it was just like this perfect moment after a night of anxiety. He like finishes this off in this perfect way. I mean, he couldn't script it any better.
There's no doubt about it. And I was going to say that is a testament to him, that they've even stuck with him over the last few years with the injuries and whatnot, and that basically he wasn't going anywhere if the Dodgers had anything to do with it. So I'm not shocked at the response for him. And that's a great night, great night at Dodger Stadium and for Clayton Kershaw. Our guest is Sam Blum from The Athletic. He also covers the Los Angeles Angels. And I want to turn the page there. Sam, what a season it has been, and a couple things to talk about. First, let's start with Ron Washington. And what do we really know? I know he stepped away for the rest of the year with a health concern. How much do we really know about Ron and his condition?
Not a ton, and I think that's by design. I mean, he doesn't really want to discuss it right now, from my understanding. And so, just out of respect, there's just not a lot out there, I think. And what I will say is, I've communicated with him a little bit. It sounds like he's in good spirits. I think, he's navigating a really, really serious situation. I mean, that's my understanding is they feel like they caught something before it got worse. So there is some positivity to this whole, situation. But ultimately, it's Ron Washington is an icon. That. I mean, everybody that knows him knows that. I think for me, like, covering him, it's a privilege because it's, I cover a lot of different major league teams that come through. You travel to see them, and there's no manager like him. There's just nobody that gives you the time of day the way he does. There's nobody that just will, talk baseball the way that he does. I really respect, and I've really just grown, a huge amount of respect for him.
I'm with you. I spent time a lot down there in Anaheim and I talk to him as much as I can. I'm with you on that. And love and prayers going out to Ron Washington from inside the Parker and me personally. And it's a shame from this standpoint that the team had turned around. Ron had them going in a right direction. And, they still are. They're hovering around 500. We've seen this team go on the road and get some big time wins and sweep some series and do stuff. The Angels, to me, took a step this year, and it's been a good watch. Where are you on the Angels and what's happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right. I mean, they've taken a step, and there's no doubt about it. And I think it's been on the back of their young players, who've like a Nolan Schanuel, Joe Adell. I'm sure we'll talk about more, but a lot of these guys who've there have been a lot of question marks surrounding their abilities, have actually performed a lot better. Bullpen's been good. I mean, that's been the biggest thing I think for them. And they started out the season 17-25. It looked like it was going in the exact same direction that it always does. And then their bullpen really stepped up. I mean, that's to me been the biggest difference. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like how real it is, what it means for their season, I mean, it's a really interesting spot they're in right now because I believe they're a game and a half, maybe 2 games out of the wild card. You're sitting here in early July with the trade deadline coming up in just about 4 weeks, and so you ask the question, what do you do with this? And that's going to be really interesting for the Angels because you can make a lot of different arguments in different directions. I mean, if in 3-4 weeks they feel like they're right there, I don't know if you're buyers, but I certainly don't think you're sellers. If you're a few games out, do you roll the dice? I mean, I would say you probably shouldn't, just given some of the. I would also say that some of the metrics, would suggest the Angels are probably not going to be able to sustain, a 500 record or a playoff caliber season. But then again, the American League's so weak. I don't know. Their run differential is quite poor. They've been, I would say, lucky in terms of health, right? Like they're the only team in baseball that's kept the same five starting pitchers the entire season, and I think by a long, long shot right now. And last year they used 18 starting pitchers. So to me, they've had some things break in their favor, and any good front office would assess that for what it is, realize that over 162 games, it's unlikely to continue.
And Sam Blum from The Athletic. Last thing I want to ask you about Jo Adell, who I believe had 11 home runs in June, which was tied with the most for the month of June in baseball. He's really taken a step forward and looks like the player that they hope that he could turn into.
Yeah, I mean, the thing to me is like it's not even the home runs. It is the walks. It is the at-bats that he's taking that are just good. He is a hard person to get out right now. And it is not just because he's a home run threat. It's like he's hitting the ball hard all over the field. He's not striking out. I remember talking to him like some odd years ago where he kind of like just said like strikeouts are going to be a big part of my game because I'm a power hitter and like I'm willing to accept that element of it. And I think it's been the best thing in his career that he hasn't, that was not true, and that he has come out and realized that he does not need to be a strikeout hitter. He can be just an all fields hitter, and that is exactly what he is right now. He's got power at every part of the ballpark. The thing about Adele is he's run hot and cold a lot over his career. He's had stretches where he's looked really good. This is different in my opinion because some of these elements seem way more sustainable than some of, when he gets hot, it's usually home run, home run, home run, and then just like tons of strikeouts for like a month and a half straight. This doesn't seem like it's going in that direction. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully he's able to sustain this. He might not be the greatest hitter in baseball for the next 3 months, but if you can have a guy that's regularly getting on base, is a threat in the lineup like he's been, then that's really all you can ask for. And I think for Adele, like there's been a lot of really good change that he's made, and he deserves a ton of credit for being proactive in doing that.
Sam Blum, he covers baseball for The Athletic. Appreciate the insight and the knowledge, my man. We'll see you out at the ballpark. Thank you, Sam.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Rob. It's good seeing you.
Now, here's the best from MLBBro.com.
Yo, this is Pierce from Spitting Straight Facts on MLBBro.com.
In just under a month, Dave Parker will take his rightful place in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Sadly, he won't be around to see his plaque in Cooperstown. Parker passed away Saturday after a long battle with Parkinson's disease, 29 days before his induction into the Hall. The Cobra stood a towering 6'5" and was a force over his 19-year career. In Pittsburgh, he became a batting champion and Gold Glover, an MVP and World Series champion with the We Are Family Pirates in 1979. He was baseball's second million-dollar man, but with his reputation clouded by the Pittsburgh drug trials, he went home to Cincinnati, where he earned 2 of his 3 Silver Slugger awards with the Reds. His veteran leadership turned the Oakland A's into a winner, securing the American League pennant in 1988 and the World Series in '89. Parker finished his career with an all-star campaign with the Brewers in 1990 and a run with the Angels and Blue Jays in '91. A career .290 hitter with 339 home runs, Parker finally received his call to the Hall last December. One of the great hitters of his era, Dave Parker's legacy will be remembered forever. This is Pierce. Those are straight facts on MLBBro.com.
For more, right now, go to MLBBro.com.
No! This is baloney! It's the Parker Pushback.
Shut the up!
Here, Rob tackles the outlandish takes in Major League Baseball.
You idiot! Shut up!
I'm Rob Parker, and here's my pushback on those who think that all All-Star games are created equal, because it is just not the case. Are you kidding? We just got the All-Star starters in both the American and National League. The All-Star festivities start, of course, in Atlanta with the Home Run Derby, and then the game on that Tuesday night in Atlanta in less than 2 weeks. Can't wait for that. And while people are tired of the NBA All-Star Game, we already know the Pro Bowl was canceled and changed into flag football, and the NHL All-Star Game is not a real hockey game where teams win games 13-11 in goals. I mean, come on, that's not a hockey game at all. But the baseball All-Star Game still is the way that the game is played. Nobody throws the ball softer. Nobody tries not to hit, or it's not home run derby where they're lobbing the ball up. They're still making plays. It's still the most original way that you play the game. There's still something to it. So while the other All-Star games are on their way out, there's nothing wrong with the baseball All-Star Game. Leave it the way it is. Continue playing it the way it's been played. And all these other people belly aching about get rid of the baseball All-Star Game too. I'm pushing back. That's Rob Parker.
Make way for Weekend Wagers.
Yo, it's Sean Bo. Fire up those bed naps. Let's go. Gotta dust ourselves off after an 0-2 week. Last week, 14-14 on the season, the 500 mark. But let's get our heads above water this Independence Day weekend. And we got big rivalries to do it right with. Let's start in West Sac, where the A's take on the San Francisco Giants. And you know Verlander has been so bad this year, he might miss the Hall of Fame if he keeps messing around like this. Go ahead and give me the over. Over 8.5 runs in that itty-bitty park by the bay. And then on Saturday, we head to the Subway Series. So grab your $2.90 and let's hop on one of the trains and let's head over and let's go ahead and take the New York Yankees, the Bronx Bombers, -1.5 on the run line over those Queens.
Hi, I'm Rob Parker, the founder and editor of MLBBro.com, where we cover black and brown major leaguers. 75% of the content will be about the current black and brown stars in Major League Baseball. The other 25%, we'll take a look back at some of the great black players. On the site, there'll be a ton of great written stories and videos and features.
MLB Bro, because you need to know.
MLB fans, when it comes to Major League Baseball, no one covers it better than the Odd Couple.
Fact. I am the baseball king.
First, second, third, and home.
We're leading shows with baseball. Game over.
They don't watch it.
They don't know the game.
All in one place. Right here on Fox Sports Radio.
I love baseball.
In the words of New York TV legend, the late Bill Jorgensen, thanking you for your time this time until next time. Rob Parker, out.
He can't get it. This could be an inside to Parker.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.